For this music project, I'm going to be interviewing my cousin, Nick Limoncelli. Nick is 23 years old, and the musical instrument that he plays is the guitar. Although Nick is my cousin, there is still a lot of information that I wanted to obtain about him regarding his musical talent. Before the interview, I asked him if he was comfortable answering the questions I was going to be asking throughout the interview. He said he was more than happy to answer all of my questions. As we went in class, the guitar is a chordophone, which means that it's a vibration of strings. The first question that I asked Nick was, how did you start playing the guitar? He enjoyed answering this question because he loves music and he's very passionate about playing the guitar. Nick responded by saying, I first started playing the guitar during my freshman year of college. I was dorming at St. John's University at Queens, and I bought a guitar just to play it as a hobby. One night I really wanted to start playing the guitar, and I went onto the internet and started teaching myself. I didn't really want to pay for any guitar lessons, so like I said, I decided to teach myself. I realized that it was going to take some time, but I stuck with it, and I'm glad I did. When I first heard him play the guitar, he was playing songs for bands that I loved, such as the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Aerosmith, Van Halen, Def Leppard, and the Beatles. Another question that I asked him was, did you begin playing the guitar because you were interested in music? Nick said, music has always been a big part of my life. I've always been interested in music ever since I was a child. When I first started playing, I never thought I was going to be able to do it, and I never thought I'd be playing in a rock band. Like I said, I started playing just as a hobby, but I really enjoy playing the guitar, and I love hearing the sound of it. When I was listening to him speak, I could tell that he put a lot of time, passion, and energy into music and playing the guitar. It sounds like he's been playing his whole life, meanwhile he's only been playing for 4 years. I proceeded to ask him, who were his favorite guitarists? Who inspired him to pick up the guitar? He responded by saying, well, when I was a young kid, I listened to great guitarists such as Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, Eric Clapton, and Billy Joe Armstrong. All of those guys were very inspirational for me because they all had extremely great talent, and I grew up admiring them and wanted to be just like them. I'm also a huge Green Day fan, and I wanted to learn their songs when I first started playing because they were the easiest ones to learn. When I first told Nick that I was going to be interviewing for this project, he was really excited to find out that I considered him a musician. Another question that I asked him had to do with him playing in front of a large audience and his emotions. I asked him, where does your band play? How do you feel about playing in front of a big crowd? He said, we perform gigs in local bars around Staten Island such as the Dugout, Play Bar, the Black Dog, the Curly Wolf, and the Beer Garden. When we got our first gig, we were just going with the flow and seeing where it took us. At first, I saw that we were playing in front of a decent sized crowd and I was a bit nervous. I didn't know what to expect because I had never played in front of a lot of people before. After playing for a while, it didn't faze me anymore, and I began to become more and more uncomfortable after each song I played. Also, seeing my friends and family there settled the nerves. Judging from this statement, he seemed to be natural when it came down to playing for a big audience. When I saw his show, I realized that he was extremely talented, and he looks happy while doing it. I also asked him, tell me about the genre of music that you enjoy playing the most. What time period of music intrigues you more than any other? Nick responded by saying, I really enjoy playing classic contemporary rock because that's my favorite genre of music. The 80s and the 90s is my kind of taste in music. I grew up in the 90s, so I'm very familiar with the bands and the type of music that were played during that time. When I was interviewing him, you could tell that he was very confident when he was answering the questions. There was rarely ever any hesitation or confusion while answering the questions. Then I decided to ask him about various instruments. I asked him, tell me more about your experimentation with other instruments, or if you have ever thought about playing another instrument. He responded by saying, I do have some experience playing the piano, not a whole lot. I always wanted to sing, but I do not have a great amount of confidence in my voice. I have thought about playing other instruments besides the piano and the guitar, but I figured I'd stick to the instruments that I know and I could play to the best of my ability. When he answered my questions, he spoke in a very sophisticated way. As I expected, Nick was extremely cooperative throughout the entire interview. I asked him a question which talked about his guitar. Tell me about when you bought your first guitar. Did you want a specific guitar, and how important was it for you? Nick's response was very quick. He said I bought my first guitar when I was 20 years old, and it was one of the most exciting moments of my life. I really study every guitar I look at, and decide if it is the right guitar for me. At the end of the day, the guitar that I wanted to buy was called a Fender Stratocaster. This guitar means a lot to me because it's the type of guitar that Jimi Hendrix plays, and he's one of my greatest inspirations. After Nick's statement, I could tell that he really admires Jimi Hendrix, and who could blame him because he was one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Nick put a lot of time and effort into buying his first guitar because he implied that it was a very special guitar that his idol loved to play. After this question, I wanted to pick his brain a lot more. I decided to ask him, how did it feel when you learned all of the chords to one entire song? Did you feel a certain sense of accomplishment? Nick pondered a bit before he answered the question. I could tell that there were many thoughts running through his head at the time. He answered by saying, I felt extremely proud of myself because I never thought I'd be able to play an entire song. It took me about a year to learn an entire song, and I actually do feel a specific sense of accomplishment after I had played the whole song. After I learned the song, I was anxious to learn other songs, and I continued to practice more and more. I wanted to talk about his comfort level when playing with the band. I asked Nick, tell me about playing with your band. Do you feel comfortable playing with them, and do you enjoy the atmosphere? He says, we have a lot of fun with each and every song that we play. We like to play a mixture of many contemporary songs. I feel very comfortable playing with my bandmates, and we have terrific chemistry together. The atmosphere is incredible, and I am very pleased to be playing for the whole bar. When we were playing, I sometimes tend to get overexcited, and my hands and fingers begin to vibrate with anticipation. Nick is very devoted to his music, and as you could tell, he puts a tremendous amount of time and effort into everything that he does. I wanted to talk a little bit more about his band, so I asked, do you feel comfortable being the lead guitarist? Do you sometimes feel that there's a lot of pressure on you to make the show great? Nick thought a little, and then he answered by saying, I feel honored that my band selected me to be the guitarist of the band, and that they believe that I have talent. I do feel pressure sometimes when I perform because I'm worried about messing something up during the song, but I don't like to think about that too much. I just play the show and roll with the punches, you know what I mean? Although he wouldn't mind talking about the few bucks that he makes for these gigs, I didn't want to ask him that question. However, I felt the need to talk about other aspects of his band. Is there a purpose to these gigs that you perform besides the financial aspect of it? Nick says, yes, there is a purpose. We don't play for the money. Our main focus is to inspire more and more people to play, and also just have a fun time up there throughout the weekend. We want music to inspire people's lives, and we want them to hear our songs and really accord from what we are doing. Judging from his answer, Nick is just up there to play and have a good time. He just wants everyone to get up off their feet, dance a little, and have a great time. After hearing what a brilliant guitarist he is, I was wondering if he had any interest in writing a song. I asked him, has playing and listening to music inspired you or you and your band to write a song of your own? Nick says, you know what, I have thought about writing a song of my own, but I don't think I would be able to pull it off. I am perfectly content with performing songs that were already created by my main inspirations. When it comes down to my band, we have had many discussions about possibly writing a song, but at the end of the day, we're not looking to go on tour or anything big like that. We just enjoy each other's company, and we want our music to inspire and, most importantly, to have fun and have a good time. We wanted to talk more about the learning process relating to his guitar playing. I went on to ask him, talk about the basic step-by-step procedure on learning how to play the guitar. How long did it take you, and did it come easy or did it come hard for you? Nick paused for a moment and then went on to say, well, here's the thing. I didn't want to pursue hiring a guitar instructor. So I figured the best way was to teach myself, and I went on a website which showed me everything I needed to know about how to play the guitar. I am not going to go too in depth, but basically, you kind of have to know how to read a musical scale. You also need to know where to place your fingers on the guitar in order to play the chords. You need to be able to place your fingers in the correct position. Tuning your guitar is extremely important, because you don't want your guitar emitting a really bad sound. There were times when I was getting extremely frustrated, because it takes a lot of time and patience. I do not want to say it came easy to me, but I did not have too much difficulty learning. Like I said, it takes time, effort, patience, and a lot of practice. I asked Nick not to go too far in depth with the step-by-step procedure and told him to answer the question with a basic and central answer. Nick has been playing for about 4 years, and I am very impressed with his progress so far. He is a very humble person, and he does not consider himself a very good musician, but after hearing him play, I think he's excellent. I was very happy with the way the interview was going so far. However, I had one final question for Nick. My final question was, tell me about your ideal dreams or goals pertaining to your musical talent. Would it be your ultimate dream as a guitarist in a rock band? Nick says, my dream as a guitarist would be to have an unbelievable rock band with magnificent success. In this ideal dream, I would be touring all over the world and have millions of fans who admire and worship me. My goals would be to have platinum and gold records that I could frame on my wall. I would love to be an incredible guitarist such as Jimi Hendrix or Eddie Van Halen. Of course, my ultimate dream would be to achieve superstardom. The odds of all this happening are slim to none, but it's really fun to think about all the amazing things I would be doing as a brilliant musician. If this dream came true, I would definitely bring my band along for the ride with me, and I would spread all my wealth and happiness among the people who I love, who are my friends and my family. And that's my presentation.